Hi, I'm AJ Hartley, novelist, Shakespeare professor, baby metal fan. This is my, I don't know, seventh video based on songs off the first Baby Metal album, and I thought I would try. It's one of my favorite songs on the album, but I don't actually have that much to say about it, so this will probably be pretty straightforward. Probably doesn't tell you anything you don't already know, but you know, it has to be done. So this is Iijime Dame Zettai. I hope you find something fun in it.
Forever.
Okay, so part of what I want to talk about with this song is about what it isn't, right? And I think that little setup at the beginning gives us something of a taste of what you might expect this song to be. If you can imagine having never heard this song and being told that a Japanese band fronted by three teenage girls was going to sing a song about bullying, this might be what you would expect. Something gentle and sweet and quiet and safe, right? Because there are not a lot of people who are going to be pro-bullying. They may act it, but they're not going to say it. So to take a position which is anti-bullying sounds kind of like an easy song to sing. It has a kind of after-school special kind of thing. And you might expect it to be quiet and melodic and maybe a little saccharine, a little preachy. Don't bully people. It's naughty. And I think that the song deliberately in this sort of, and Baby Metal love to do this, the quiet intro that then sets up the slap of the full sort of metal sound kicking in, like this. Obviously, this video shows a lot of different cuts from a lot of different concerts over the span of their career. And I've chosen this deliberately, partly because I'm hoping that it will be less likely to get taken down, though who knows. I'm also, as you can see, trying a slightly different format to try and avoid the censors who think that me blathering on is somehow a substitute for watching the perfectly good performance video all by itself, which it clearly isn't. But one of the reasons that I've chosen this combination is that you get to see all these different shows over the, whatever it is, 7-year period that they've been performing this song live. And because partly I'm really interested in the longevity of the song, the way that it continues to have power and relevance, even though it began as a schoolgirl's song about bullying, right? So I think that when the metal stuff kicks in, we immediately know that this is not going to be the kind of song that we might have expected, and it's going to have more of an edge to it. So part of what I want to explore as we talk today is how the lyric works within that song to sort of to justify the metal sound, right? So some of the footage, I'm deliberately breaking this up again for obvious reasons. Some of the footage you're seeing there is from Sonosphere in 2014, which is in some ways one of the sort of epic, transformative moments in the history of the band. One of their first like real big European, outside Japan, European concerts, which kind of was considered to be a huge risk at the time, you know, playing in front of a festival crowd, a metal festival crowd, who might well be not just not interested, but hostile. And the fact that they pulled off this huge success at the show and got a lot of fans that day, I think, you know, was one of the things that sent a message that said, these guys have a future. They have legs, there's power here, and that they're doing something unusual and something interesting that metal fans could get behind in interesting ways. So, let me get to work. So, the Yume o miru koto, unable to even dream about, it doesn't specify, but I think of it as being of better times. I'm stuck between the light and the darkness. I remain alone. I think that the past tense is not clear, but I think in the course of the song it becomes clear that we're looking back on a previous situation. And one of the things that's really striking about the song, I've said this about other Japanese songs, other baby metal songs, and about Japanese language generally, is that it's productively ambiguous in that often a verb will not be clearly tagged as who is the subject, right? So we don't know if the speaker is doing the hurting or being on the receiving end, right? And that the next stanza, those who got hurt were not only myself, but also those who were watching over me, and then and I thought it was you. But that first line, Kizatsuita no wa, those who got hurt, could also be those who I hurt, right? So we don't know if the song is speaking from the perspective of the bullier or the bullyee, the person being bullied. And I think most of it bullied. But the whole point of the song is to say that that the act of bullying damages everybody in contact with it, including, as that stanza makes clear, the people who were watching and who didn't necessarily do anything about it. Whether they were watching over somebody trying to be protective, or whether they were watching in the sense of being a bystander, somebody who was ultimately ineffectual. Part, you know, sets up the back and forth between Sue and Yui and Moa, or at least Yui and Moa in those early recordings, where he's talking about confidence, and they're encouraging her to have that, and she said, well, you know, I didn't have it, and they're saying, you know, don't be defeated, and she says, and when she talks about, I was hiding within myself, and they're encouraging her. And then she says, you know, and this was until yesterday, but goodbye to the person that I was yesterday. That's how I'm translating it. Whoever I was before, you know, I'm not that anymore. Bye-bye to that. Bye-bye to that person. Bye-bye to myself. And I think that this is kind of what I wanted to talk about with regard to the way that the song has evolved, because it's not just, as I said, it's not a song about saying, "Oh, don't be bad to people." It's a song ultimately about personal empowerment and change and evolution within yourself. Not just about how you treat other people, but how you think about yourself, and therefore how you meet a challenge head on, and rise above it, right? And I think this is why the song has survived beyond, that early idea of, oh, we think about bullying as being, it's a schoolyard thing, it's a children's thing, but it's not, right? there's all kinds of adult bullying going on all the time. Pressuring people, teasing them, making fun of them, making them feel that they are not part of a group in order to exert some sort of power over them, or to make them feel bad, right? And so I think the content of the song has staying power for adults as well as children. But in order to get that, we leave behind the specifics of trying to deal with individuals, and we talk about ourselves and how we deal with being in this situation, and how we try to find a kind of inner strength to change ourselves. And this is why I think the song became such an anthem for them, right? That it was one of the signature songs. I think it was actually the first single. I think it was the first single that they were released strictly as Baby Metal, not as a part of Sakura Gakuen. I think it was their fourth single, but it was also the song which, as you see in the footage, became for a long time the song with which they concluded their shows. It was this big anthemic production that sort of pulls all the crowd together in this sense that of personal unity and individual strength, right? And the two things are related. Individual strength allows the capacity to come together as a group, because we're not competing with each other in the same way. So great. So the bullying, damn it, and as Dwayne Metal, the ever wonderful Dwayne Metal, points out, that the damn it sign, the note, is also an homage to X Japan, a band who we get referenced a lot in Baby Metal. So yeah, bullying is always wrong. And then the next bit is kitsune tobe. Kitsune tobe, fox, fly. And it doesn't mean fly necessarily meaning fly away, as in fly you fools, Gandalf, falling into Khazad Dûm. What a nerd I am. Anyway, it means literally fly like a bird, right? And foxes traditionally don't fly, but because the foxes within the mythos of Baby Metal are the magical kitsune and megitsune, which get referenced a number of times in the songs, these are supernatural foxes, right? So I think whether we're talking to a fox god who is outside ourselves, or whether we're imagining the fox in ourselves, right? And if you think about Baby Metal, fans as a whole are referred to as the one, the group, but individually they are kitsune and megitsune, in the same way that Sue sings in megitsune, watashi wa megitsune, I am the fox. So the fox is us. So when we're accessing the inner fox, as it were, this is the spiritual power to fly, to become something more than ourselves, to escape our limitations as individual people, and to escape the pressures of our culture and the things that pile on top of us that keep us down in some ways. And this is why I think that, the original official video for this is this slightly odd, not completely effective battle. And the idea, I think, was that they were sort of fighting on behalf of metal resistance, right? Which is a theme, particularly on the second album. And I think that comes out of this idea that what we're doing here is trying to transcend our limitations and the limitations which have been imposed upon us by our culture. And that's what the fox is about. That's why the fox has to fly. It gives us power over these situations. see what I mean about the I think the energy of the show and the sort of the upbeat quality to it that gets everybody jumping, is there in the lyric, right? It's because, as I say, it's not just about saying, oh, you shouldn't bully people, but it turns that into yourself and saying, well, it's about finding the strength, unspecifically, but finding that strength to sort of stand up to that version of yourself which gets intimidated and pushed around, and shaking that off in order to be your own person. And at the end there, that Kimi o Mamoru kara, she uses that sort of male pronoun, or a pronoun that men usually use to other younger people. She takes on the sort of protective form of maybe of the fox itself, right? In saying, I don't worry because everything's going to be okay. I'll look after you, right? And I think that this is the core of the thing, the idea that when you find that inner strength, it makes you useful to other people, right? And one of the things I like about this sort of compilation video is that, however strange it is to see the performances without Yui, I kind of love the fact that those later shows incorporate the Avengers, the other people who are on stage, or just Sue and Moa, right? Where it's about their own individual strength and that sense of community which comes out of that. And this particular bit coming up here, Sue has talked about as being, at least from the earlier shows, one of her favorite moments, because it was often late in the show and they were exhausted and they've been working incredibly hard. And then the three of them, as it was, get to come together and sort of really connect, make eye contact, in order to sort of find the energy to finish the show. 感じでずっと一人心気づかないふりもう逃げないいじめダメ絶対 And then we go into the sort of fight sequence that they do, and I don't think the fight is supposed to be we're going to beat up bulliers. I think again it's about identifying the obstacles within yourself in order to sort of meet them head on and defeat them. And so that the fight, I think, is supposed to be metaphorical. It's that sort of inner spiritual struggle. That last part when they're saying, there was nothing I could say. This is in that little conversation that they have there, and I was ready to give up, ready to abandon it. And I think this is a real thing that we all have heard horror stories of kids who have killed themselves over bullying, and the idea of the voices in your head saying you can't, don't throw everything away because of how you feel, and to get you to that point where you can say, okay, I'm going to put all that behind me, and again, that whoever I was yesterday, that's over, and I'm going to move past it. last part, I was talking about the spoken part. At the end of it, when she's going through kokoro, and then so your heart, all the pain and the anguish in your heart, and all the negative things, and pretending not to notice, and then mo negenai, which means I won't run away anymore. And I think that's the moment where you're like, okay, decision made, stand up, transform yourself. Look at that. And I think that's the thing, right? That you expect it to be sort of a sad, sort of poignant kind of song, but but it's not, because it's uplifting. Because while it is about bullying and putting people under that kind of pressure, it's finally about something more than that. It's finally about sort of transcending all the sort of negativity and pressures and damaging stuff that comes up around you. And if you can find the strength to get through that, then something glorious happens. And I think this is so central to who they are as a band, this kind of idea, and it's so central to the way that they create such passion in their fans, which is why I make these idiot videos. Because we want to get behind something that unites us in positivity. I love the little Union Jacks worked into the flag. They're having so much fun. I love that. Much as I miss this version, that's who they were. I love this. Clearly I have nothing to say. So, the end. So that's all I have to say. Obviously, I don't have that much to say about this song. I'm not sure how many more I'm going to do off the first album. I think I'm kind of running out of things where I have real meaningful observations. Much as I like some of the other songs, I don't know that I have a lot to say about them. We'll see. If not, I'll move on to the next album and try something there. In the meantime, I hope everybody's well and safe and not being bullied in any way whatsoever, and feeling suitably self-empowered. As usual, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.